This chapter focuses on traces in Bronze Age hair, a quiet connection to psychedelia. Traces in Bronze Age hair, a quiet connection to psychedelia is what stories can 3,000-year-old hair tell about early human rituals. It existed because chemical analysis methods revealing subtle residues in ancient materials. The useful thing is to understand the ordinary pressure underneath it before the details start to pile up. Undefined. Maybe it has been a long day, or maybe you like falling asleep with how ancient humans used psychedelics somewhere softly in the background. Let your body rest, let your mind slow down, and let the details drift. Tonight, this can be something to follow, or something to let pass by. And before we begin, a small note of care. For the quality of your sleep, this video has been made with dim, low-light visuals, slow movement, and a soft, calm voice. Nothing here is meant to tug you awake. You can listen closely, or let the details drift by. This chapter focuses on ancient traces of psychedelic use found in Bronze Age human hair. In plain terms, it's about detecting tiny chemical remnants of hallucinogenic substances preserved in strands of hair that are 3,000 years old. These traces offer a rare, personal glimpse into how people far back in time might have engaged with mind-altering plants, not just through tools or art, but in the very fibers of their bodies. The discovery comes from a place called Carix, a cave on the island of Minorca in the Mediterranean. There, researchers found hair samples dating back to the Bronze Age, roughly a millennium before the Roman Empire rose. Through delicate chemical analysis, they identified molecules linked to psychedelic plants, hallucinogenic compounds that suggest someone living then ingested or absorbed them. Hair, it turns out, is something like a time capsule, slowly growing and capturing traces of everything the body encounters. Unlike bones or tools, which tell us about broader cultural practices, hair can hold a record of individual experience, preserved in slow layers of keratin. What's particularly fascinating about this find is the precision and care needed to detect these substances. The chemical signatures are faint, often masked by contamination or degradation over millennia. Scientists use advanced techniques, such as mass spectrometry, to separate and identify molecules like alkaloids or plant metabolites. It's a bit like sifting through dust for a single thread of silk. The challenge is immense, and the results are always tentative. Evidence suggesting use, rather than a definitive statement. Yet even this subtle hint invites us to reconsider the daily lives of Bronze Age people. They weren't just surviving. They were engaging with their environment in ways that included altered states of consciousness. The Carix cave itself is a quiet, sheltered spot beneath a rocky cliff with layers of sediment that preserve bones, tools, and now, hair. Imagine how hair might have ended up here, cut during a ritual, lost during a stay, or intentionally placed as an offering. Each strand is a fragment of a human story. The Bronze Age, a time of growing trade networks and social complexity in Europe, saw new cultural expressions and ceremonies. Psychedelic use may have been a part of these, quietly woven into rites or healing practices. One practical detail that stands out is how hair grows slowly and retains chemicals incorporated from the bloodstream. This means the psychedelic compounds found don't just reflect a single moment, but a period of weeks or months. It suggests repeated or sustained use rather than a one-off event. The implications are subtle but meaningful. These substances were not accidental. They were part of lived experience, likely with some cultural framework around them. I find it interesting that hair analysis can reveal such intimate details without any written record, unlike pottery designs or carved symbols. Hair doesn't tell a story in words or pictures, but in molecular whispers. It's a reminder that ancient people's lives were recorded in their bodies, and modern science can sometimes read those silent archives. Another practical note is about the Bronze Age environment itself. The Mediterranean climate, with its warm, dry summers and mild winters, helps preserve organic material, like hair, better than many other places. This preservation is a quiet gift to archaeologists, allowing them to detect chemical residues that would vanish in wetter or hotter conditions. It's a small reminder that what survives from the past often depends on the quirks of geography and climate. The part that feels strangely human here is the idea that thousands of years ago, someone sat in a cave or nearby shelter, perhaps preparing plant materials, or simply living within a community that valued these altered states. Their hair carries a trace of that choice, a biological echo of curiosity, ritual, or healing. It's a form of connection across time that feels unexpectedly close. What makes this useful to remember is that psychedelic use in ancient times was embedded in everyday life and social systems, not isolated to fringe experiences. The chemical traces in hair hint at a continuity of human engagement with the natural world's complex plants. This presence was physical, personal, and probably meaningful. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. Here we examine the shaman's pouch, a vessel of many spirits. The shaman's pouch, a vessel of many spirits, is how did a small pouch carry the essence of multiple psychoactive plants? It existed because the pouch's likely role in shamanic rituals in Bolivia. The useful thing is to understand the ordinary pressure underneath it before the details start to pile up. Now, the shaman's pouch, a vessel of many spirits. In plain terms, this is a small container that held a carefully gathered collection of psychoactive plants, kept close for ritual use. Such pouches were not just practical objects, they were repositories of knowledge, intention, and power, crafted and carried with deliberate care. They solved the problem of how to transport and preserve complex mixtures of natural substances that could alter perception, often combining them to create layered experiences that guided both shaman and community. One of the most fascinating examples comes from Bolivia, where archaeologists uncovered a shamanic pouch dating back around 1,000 years. Inside, chemical analysis revealed traces of several different psychoactive compounds: bufotenine, cocaine, DMT, harmine, and psilocin. These are not random leftovers, but a curated blend, suggesting an intricate understanding of how plants interact. The pouch itself was likely woven from animal hide or plant fibers, small enough to hang from a belt or neck. Its contents carefully dried and prepared to maintain potency. What strikes me about this find is the clear evidence of intentional combination. It's a form of early chemistry, really, where multiple plants with different effects are brought together. Harmine, for example, is known as a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, which can extend or enhance the effects of other compounds like DMT or psilocin. This shows that ancient practitioners were not merely consuming plants, but engineering experiences. The odd thing is how this challenges the common assumption that pre-modern use was unsystematic or purely accidental. Instead, it speaks to an experimental tradition with knowledge passed down and refined over time. The tactile qualities of the dried plants inside such pouches offer another layer to the story. Imagine the subtle sense of crushed leaves, the faint bitterness or earthiness released when the pouch is opened. These sensory details likely played a role in the ritual itself, anchoring the practitioner's mindset and preparing the body for the experience ahead. The pouch was both a container and a symbol, a tangible connection to the unseen realms invoked during ceremonies. Carrying and preparing these pouches required a careful routine. Plants had to be harvested at the right time of year, dried to prevent mold but retain active compounds, and ground or shredded to the proper consistency. Sometimes they were combined with resins or other natural binders. The pouch's construction balanced durability with accessibility, often stitched with sinew or plant fibers, designed to be opened easily but secure enough to protect the precious contents during travel or ritual movement. I find it interesting that this small object also reflects social roles. Shamans or ritual specialists who maintained these pouches acted as interpreters and gatekeepers. They managed not only the physical materials, but also the rite's meaning and timing. Access was controlled, ensuring that the psychoactive substances were used within a structured setting, with guidance and support. This wasn't a casual pastime. It was a carefully regulated practice embedded in the community's spiritual and social fabric. There is also a practical element to note. Combining multiple substances could be risky. Some plants contain toxins or unpredictable effects, so the shaman's knowledge included managing dosage and preparation to avoid harm. The pouch, then, was a kind of portable pharmacopoeia, a toolkit for navigating complex inner landscapes safely. I appreciate this as a form of constrained engineering, working within the limits of natural materials and human physiology to create a reliable ritual experience. The environment surrounding these pouches also mattered. They were often used in enclosed or dim spaces, where other sensory inputs could be minimized or shaped. Caves, shrines, or quiet rooms, where the smell of smoke mixed with the scent of the plants. Sound, light, and texture all contributed to the overall effect. The pouch's contents were one part of a system. Chemical input, plus sensory control, plus cultural framework equals the experience. This layering helps explain why ancient psychedelic use was often so deeply meaningful and less likely to feel random or disorienting. What makes this useful to remember is how these practices highlight a continuity between biology and culture. Our ancestors didn't simply stumble upon these substances. They learned how to work with them, shaped by their environment and biology. The presence of multiple psychoactive compounds in a single pouch suggests a sophisticated understanding of plant chemistry long before modern science could explain it. The shaman's pouch, then, is a small object with a big story. It is a testament to human curiosity, care, and the desire to connect with something beyond ordinary perception. I find it quietly profound that such a modest bundle, resting perhaps in a leather pouch worn close to the body, carried within it a complex interplay of plants, spirits, and social meaning. A bridge between the tangible and the unseen, And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. Now, bone pipes and sacred smoke in the Andes. Bone pipes and sacred smoke in the Andes is what stories linger in the carved bone tubes from Chavín de Huántar. It existed because bone tubes as tools for controlled inhalation of psychoactive smoke. The useful thing is to understand the ordinary pressure underneath it before the details start to pile up. Now, bone pipes and sacred smoke in the Andes. Bone pipes are slender tubes crafted from animal bones, designed for inhaling smoke. In plain terms, they served as delicate tools to deliver psychoactive smoke in measured doses during ritual ceremonies. These pipes offered a way to control the intake of sacred plants, allowing ritual participants to enter altered states with intention and care. Between roughly 1200 and 400 BCE, the Chavín culture, centered at the Chavín de Huántar site in present-day Peru, integrated such practices into their religious life. Archaeologists have found bone tubes alongside the remains of wild tobacco and vilca beans, both known for their psychoactive properties. The bone pipes, often no longer than a few inches, were likely held close to the lips, guiding the smoke gently inward. The craftsmanship is notable. Bones selected, cleaned, carved with care to create a narrow bore, sometimes decorated with subtle incisions or notches. This was not mere utility, but a kind of ritual object, both functional and symbolic. The act of inhaling smoke through these tubes was more than a physical experience. It was bound up with scent, sound, and space. In the stone chambers of Chavín de Huántar, the smell of burnt leaves would mingle with the cool air, enveloping those present in a sensory cocoon. Flickering torchlight would cast shifting shadows over carved stone faces, while rhythmical chants or drums might pulse in the background. The bone tubes helped focus the ritual moment, delivering the psychoactive smoke precisely so the participants' attention could remain steady, their senses attuned. What I find interesting is how this small object, a bit of carved bone, embodies a whole system of ritualized control. Inhaling smoke without such a tool might have been harsh or imprecise. The bone pipe moderates the flow, probably preserving the potency of the psychoactive compounds while reducing waste. It's a kind of early engineering, a simple but effective solution to a practical problem: how to share sacred smoke in a way that respects the plant's power and the participants' safety. Wild tobacco, or Nicotiana rustica, contains nicotine but also other alkaloids that can alter perception, while vilca seeds hold bufotenine, a potent hallucinogen. The combination of these substances, delivered through bone pipes, suggests a carefully curated experience. This wasn't haphazard or casual. The ritual leaders, shamans or priests, would have known how to prepare and dose these materials. The pipes themselves might have been passed hand to hand, perhaps marked with personal or clan symbols, lending them a social as well as spiritual role. The environment of the ritual space contributed to the experience in subtle ways. Enclosed stone rooms muffle outside noise, focusing the mind inward. The aroma of smoldering leaves acts as an anchor for memory and altered states. Repetitive drum beats or chanting can entrain participants' attention, guiding them through the phases of the ceremony. The smoke, moving slowly through the bone pipe, becomes part of a complex sensory system designed to shape consciousness. It's worth noting that these pipes are fragile and small, often found broken or worn, which points to their active use. The effort to carve and maintain them indicates value beyond mere convenience. They represent an interface between humans and plants, between the material and the spiritual. This kind of tool suggests a long tradition of experimentation and refinement. One practical detail that often goes unnoticed is how the narrowness of the bone tube would cool the smoke slightly, making inhalation gentler on the lungs. It's a small but meaningful design feature. Also, the choice of bone rather than wood or stone might have been influenced by availability, ease of carving, or symbolic associations with animals. The bones of birds or llamas were common materials, each carrying its own resonance. What makes this useful to remember is how ancient peoples combined biology, craft, and environment into a single ritual practice. The bone pipe is not just a smoking implement. It's a carefully calibrated tool within a broader sensory and social system. It reminds us that the use of psychoactive plants was not random or merely recreational, but embedded in a thoughtful, controlled practice. The Chavin culture's use of these pipes invites a quiet reflection on the relationship between humans and mind-altering plants. It shows intention, knowledge, and respect, qualities often lost in modern conversations about psychedelics. These pipes, resting beside smoldering leaves in a stone chamber, speak of a moment when smoke, spirit, and craftsmanship came together in a shared experience. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. This chapter focuses on Pinwheel Cave, echoes of psychedelic rock art. Pinwheel Cave, echoes of psychedelic rock art is how did visitors to a cave in California leave traces of altered consciousness. It existed because connection between psychoactive use and rock art creation. The useful thing is to understand the ordinary pressure underneath it before the details start to pile up. Now, Pinwheel Cave, echoes of psychedelic rock art. Pinwheel Cave is a rock shelter in California, where visitors left behind more than just painted symbols and handprints. In plain terms, it's a place where people chewed plant material that contained psychoactive substances, and the remnants of this were preserved in the crevices of the cave walls. This use of psychoactive plants likely accompanied the creation or appreciation of rock art, linking altered states of consciousness with artistic expression. The cave itself holds a cluster of red spirals and dots painted on its walls. These aren't just random marks, but part of an artistic vocabulary that repeats across the region's prehistoric sites. What's striking is that alongside these painted figures, scientists found tiny bits of plant matter stuck in cracks, remnants of leaves and stems, some of which show chemical traces of hallucinogens. This suggests that those who visited Pinwheel Cave didn't simply paint. They also entered altered states, possibly to deepen the meaning or connection to the imagery. Chewing plant material is a tactile, almost meditative act. It's slow, repetitive. The jaw moves rhythmically, and saliva mixes with the bitter leaves or seeds. In this way, the substance is prepared inside the body before its effects begin. The cave's cool, sheltered air would have slowed the drying of these chewed bits, helping preserve them over centuries. The fact that these plant fragments remain in crevices hints at a subtle, almost accidental kind of archaeological footprint. Human presence caught between art and consumption, Pinwheel Cave sits within a landscape of oak groves and chaparral, a place where certain psychoactive plants grow naturally. Visitors might have carried small bundles of leaves or seeds, sharing them quietly in the dim shelter. The act of chewing and spitting the material out into the walls creates a kind of silent conversation between the people and the space itself. The cave becomes a vessel for both art and altered perception, an intimate setting where the boundary between the physical and the visionary could feel especially thin. What I find interesting is how this site shows that psychedelic use wasn't always a solitary or hidden affair. Here, it seems connected to social or ritual activity centered on the cave's walls. The rock art isn't decoration alone. It's a kind of script or map that might guide the experience. The spirals, which appear again and again across time and cultures, seem to suggest movement and transformation. Perhaps the painted spirals mirror the internal spiraling of thought or vision under the influence of these plants. The cave's enclosed space also channels sound and light in particular ways. Even a whisper echoes softly, and a flickering torch would cast the red paintings in shifting shadows. This sensory environment, combined with the chemical effects of the plants, might have shaped the experience more than the plants alone. It's a reminder that altered states are as much about context, space, sound, light, as about the substances themselves. One practical detail worth noting is the cave's temperature and humidity. These factors influence how plant material ages and how pigments endure on rock surfaces. Pinwheel Cave's relatively stable environment likely contributed to the preservation of both the paintings and the plant residues. This makes it a rare and valuable site for understanding the intertwined relationship of art and psychoactive use. It's also quietly remarkable how the visitor's chewing leaves a trace that is so physical and human, a moment frozen in time, a habitual gesture repeated across generations. This small act, so simple and mundane, becomes evidence of a larger cultural practice. It's less about spectacle and more about the ordinary rhythms of preparation and sharing. Of course, we can't be certain about the exact purpose of the plant use or the meaning of the rock art. The evidence suggests association, not instruction. The cave doesn't speak directly, but offers clues, fragments of plant fiber, layers of pigment, patterns of human presence. What makes this useful to remember is that these traces invite reflection on how people long ago wove together nature, perception, and expression in quiet, deliberate ways. The connection of Pinwheel Cave to psychedelic use also reminds me of the delicate balance between environment and culture. The plants grow wild nearby, but the decision to chew them here, in this particular cave, was a choice. It reflects knowledge of poyon and plant, ritual and meaning. The cave itself becomes a participant, a kind of silent witness to the evolving practices of those who came to paint and to taste the world differently. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. This chapter focuses on the ergot fungus and its possible role in ancient Greek temples. In plain terms, ergot is a type of fungus that grows on grains like rye and contains compounds capable of producing hallucinogenic effects. The challenge and opportunity was that ergot is naturally toxic, so those who used it had to find a way to balance its poisonous traits with its mind-altering potential. This delicate alchemy likely shaped some of the spiritual experiences in the Eleusinian mysteries. one of the most famous religious ceremonies of the classical world. Ergot, or Claviceps purpurea, looks like a dark, horn-shaped growth replacing a grain kernel, rather than the smooth seed it should be. It contains alkaloids chemically related to LSD, although of course much older, and more complex in their effects. The paradox is that while these compounds could induce visionary states, the fungus also carries dangerous toxins that can cause severe illness, or even death if untreated. The ancient Greeks, particularly the priestesses at Eleusis, may have developed techniques to carefully prepare ergot, reducing its toxicity while preserving its psychotropic qualities. This is not a trivial task. It suggests a surprisingly sophisticated understanding of natural chemistry and preparation. The Eleusinian mysteries were annual rites held in honor of Demeter and Persephone, gods associated with agriculture and the changing seasons. The ceremonies were secret, and only initiates could attend. According to some scholars, the climax of these mysteries involved consuming a potion called kykeon. While historical texts do not explicitly describe its ingredients, the theory that ergot was a key component has gained traction. The potion might have been made by drying ergot carefully to avoid the worst toxic effects, then brewing it into a drink mixed with other herbs. This preparation could have allowed the initiates to experience profound altered states within a controlled, sacred setting. The process of drying ergot would have been crucial. Too much moisture might cause the fungus to rot or produce harmful byproducts, while drying it too harshly could degrade the active compounds. Earthenware jars, common in Greek temples, might have been used to store and age the fungus under specific conditions: cool, dark, and dry. The priestesses, who managed these sacred substances, likely had a hands-on role in selecting the right harvest time, handling the fungus with care, and preparing it according to ritualized methods. The exact details are lost to time, but the evidence suggests a practiced craft rather than accidental or naive use. What I find interesting is the balance this implies between poison and medicine. The same fungus that could cause convulsions or gangrene if mishandled was transformed into a bridge to the divine. This transformation required knowledge, patience, and a certain chemical intuition. It also imposed a strict social structure. Only trained priestesses would handle, prepare, and administer such a potent substance. This controlled access helped maintain the ritual's power and safety. It's a practical judgment that these substances were never meant for casual use, but were embedded in a system of authority and meaning. The cultural importance of this controlled experience is hard to overstate. The Eleusinian mysteries were not simply about intoxication. They were about creating a shared, transformative encounter, framed by myth, ceremony, and community. The altered state induced by the ergot potion was just one element in a carefully orchestrated sensory environment, including chanting, darkness, and symbolic imagery. This system shaped mental states deliberately, so the hallucinogenic effects did not descend into chaos, but were woven into a larger narrative about life, death, and rebirth. A practical detail that often escapes notice is how the preparation of ergot might have resembled early pharmaceutical work. Grinding the dried fungus, mixing it with barley or water, heating it gently, and storing it securely all require tools and knowledge. Some pottery shards from Eleusinian sites show residues consistent with these processes. These tangible traces connect the mythic and the material, reminding us that ancient ritual was also craft, combining botany, chemistry, and ritual expertise. The part that feels strangely human is the care involved. Handling a toxic fungus is not a casual task. It demands respect for nature's dangers and patience for slow preparation. The priestesses may have been early chemists in their own right, experimenting with subtle drying times or combinations of herbs to modulate the effects. This intertwining of risk and reverence holds a lesson about knowledge, that it often grows from careful trial and error, not just revelation. There is also a quiet irony in how such a dangerous fungus was central to sacred rites. Today, ergot poisoning is known as St. Anthony's fire, a dreaded illness. Yet in ancient Greece, it might have been the very source of profound insight and communal bonding. This dual nature, poison and medicine, reflects a broader pattern in human relationships with psychoactive plants and fungi. They are substances to be respected, studied, and integrated with care. We can't fully reconstruct the exact recipes or experiences, but the evidence encourages a respectful appreciation of ancient wisdom. The transformations performed by Greek priestesses were as much chemical as spiritual, a blending of slow craft and ritual intent. They remind us that ancient humans were not merely passive consumers of nature's gifts, but active participants in shaping them. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. Now, old world traditions. The long human dance with psychedelics. Old world traditions. The long human dance with psychedelics is how might early humans have first discovered mind-altering plants. It existed because the gradual integration of plants into spiritual and communal life. The useful thing is to understand the ordinary pressure underneath it before the details start to pile up. Now, old world traditions. The long human dance with psychedelics. In plain terms, this chapter looks at how people across Europe, Asia, and Africa have quietly woven psychoactive plants into their cultures over thousands of years. These substances were not mere curiosities, but part of a complex fabric of ritual, healing, and social practice, tools for navigating unseen realms, shaping experience, and making sense of the world. Archaeological sites across the Old World reveal traces of this ongoing relationship. For example, the Escarix cave in Menorca, Spain, yielded 3,000-year-old hair samples with chemical markers of hallucinogens. It's a rare and direct fingerprint of Bronze Age Europeans engaging with mind-altering plants, suggesting these substances were part of their daily lives or special ceremonies. What's quietly striking is that these weren't isolated finds, but part of a wider pattern stretching from the Mediterranean to Central Asia. In the highlands of Peru, at the Chavin de Huanta site, ritual bone tubes made from llama bones show residues of wild tobacco and vilca beans, both known for their psychoactive properties. These tubes likely delivered smoke in controlled doses during ceremonies between 1200 and 400 BCE. The choice of bone as a material here is practical and symbolic, durable yet porous, allowing a slow, measured release of smoke, while also connecting the ritual to animal life and death. The people who crafted these tools treated their materials with care, understanding that the quality of the vessel mattered as much as the plants inside. Similarly, the shaman's pouch found in Bolivia, about 1,000 years old, contained a blend of psychoactive compounds, DMT, harmine, bufotenine, even traces of cocaine. This combination wasn't haphazard. The pouch's contents suggest deliberate mixing, an early form of chemical experimentation. The layered effects of these substances, when combined, create a more complex experience than any one alone. This points to a sophisticated knowledge transfer. Generations learning which plants to gather, how to prepare them, and how to combine them for specific spiritual or healing purposes. I find it interesting how these practices reveal early forms of what we might call ethnobotanical engineering. This wasn't random ingestion. It was a system where plants, tools, and ritual all worked together. The environment shaped what was possible. Seasonal availability of plants, their potency at different times, and the physical properties of containers or pipes used for delivery. For example, drying leaves to preserve them, or grinding seeds to release active compounds, are subtle techniques that take patience and knowledge. The role of ritual spaces in these traditions cannot be overstated. Enclosed places like caves or stone sanctuaries provided more than shelter. They created sensory environments, low light, reducing distractions, echoes amplifying chants or drums, the scent of burning herbs, anchoring memory and mood. These settings shaped the psychedelic experience, guiding perception rather than leaving it to chance. The odd thing is how much control was exerted, not just chemically, but through spatial design, sound patterns, and movement. In ancient Greece, there is evidence suggesting priestesses may have manipulated ergot fungus to extract its hallucinogenic components while reducing toxicity. Ergot, a mold that grows on rye, can cause dangerous poisoning if mishandled. That these early practitioners might have chemically altered it shows an early form of pharmacological knowledge, a subtle alchemy within religious ritual. The infamous Eleusinian mysteries, celebrated in hidden sanctuaries, possibly involved such preparations. We can't fully reconstruct their experiences, but the care in preparation hints at a deep understanding of risk and reward. Now, a little aside, imagine a low hum, like a distant machine running quietly in an old, unused room. You might not notice it at first, just a faint, steady vibration under the surface of silence. It's neither intrusive nor comforting, just there, occupying space like a shadow of sound. It's the kind of thing you become aware of only when your mind drifts halfway between waking and sleep. If you find yourself noticing this now, you're not alone. Sometimes the quietest sounds speak loudest to the half-awake mind, returning now to the thread of old-world psychedelic traditions. If you're still up and listening, feel free to like and subscribe. And if there is a future topic you want covered, drop it in the comments. I do read them. The repeated, intentional use of psychoactive plants across varied old-world cultures reveals a common pattern. These substances were carefully integrated into communal life, often controlled by specialists like shamans or priestesses. They acted as interpreters and guides, ensuring the experience remained meaningful and safe. Access was usually restricted, which reinforced social structures and bestowed power, as well as spiritual insight. Tools for gathering and preparing these plants often included simple but effective objects: stone grinders to powder seeds, leather pouches for storage, bone or reed tubes for inhalation. These tools shaped dosage and delivery, a kind of early pharmacology born from observation and trial. For instance, Grinding seeds finely could increase potency, but also required skill to avoid waste. Drying herbs preserved them for seasonal rituals, but demanded careful timing. Such details reflect an interplay of natural cycles and human craftsmanship. Environmental factors played an important role too. The availability and potency of psychoactive plants varied with geography and season, influencing when and how they were used. In colder climates, storage and preservation techniques mattered more. In tropical zones, fresh plants might be favored. This variability required constant attention and adaptation by communities, embedding psychedelic use deeply into their understanding of nature's rhythms. What I find quietly profound is that these practices reflect a long, slow human conversation with the environment, a blending of biology, culture, and chemistry. Our ancestors didn't just stumble upon these plants. They responded to them, adapted to their effects, and built frameworks around them. This includes the evolution of enzymes in our bodies, designed to metabolize such compounds, hinting that our relationship with psychoactive plants is as much biological as it is cultural. In this light, psychedelics were not simply drugs, but tools for exploring experience within shared meaning. This is very different from the modern notion of isolated recreational use. Ancient users entered known frameworks where set and setting were carefully managed, and the journey was less about escape and more about connection and understanding. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. This chapter focuses on evolution's whisper, enzymes and ancient chemical encounters. Evolution's whisper, enzymes and ancient chemical encounters, is how did exposure to natural chemicals shape our ancestors' bodies? It existed because selective pressures from exposure to hallucinogens and toxins. The useful thing is to understand the ordinary pressure underneath it before the details start to pile up. Now, evolution's whisper, enzymes and ancient chemical encounters. In plain terms, this is about how our bodies, particularly the liver, developed ways to process and respond to the chemical compounds found in plants and fungi around us, including those with mind-altering effects. This biological adaptation didn't happen because of curiosity or culture alone. It was a matter of survival. Our ancestors lived in environments full of both nourishing and potentially harmful natural substances, so their bodies needed to find balance, to break down toxins, and sometimes, intriguingly, to tolerate or even embrace psychoactive molecules. If we look closely at the human liver, it's like a finely tuned chemical workshop. Enzymes there act as molecular scissors and sculptors, cutting apart complex compounds or reshaping them into forms the body can safely manage or excrete. Over hundreds of thousands of years, these enzymes evolved in response to the plants and fungi that hominins encountered in their diets and surroundings. Some of these compounds were bitter or toxic, others mildly stimulating or dangerously hallucinogenic. The liver enzymes didn't just detoxify blindly. They developed specificity, efficiency, and sometimes the capacity to transform these substances in ways that could alter the mind. Take the cytochrome P450 family of enzymes, for example. These are a large group found in the liver that metabolize a wide range of chemicals. Some variants of these enzymes are particularly adept at handling alkaloids, a class of molecules that includes many hallucinogens like DMT or harmine. What I find interesting is that the presence and activity of these enzymes vary among populations, suggesting that long-term exposure to certain plants shape genetic adaptations. It's a quiet, evolutionary conversation where the environment offers a chemical challenge and biology responds with subtle changes in enzyme structure and function. This interplay is not just about detoxification. In some cases, the way our bodies process these substances affects the experience itself. For instance, harmine, found in ayahuasca, inhibits enzymes that normally break down DMT, allowing it to reach the brain and produce its characteristic effects. It's as though biology and culture co-evolved. People learned to combine plants in certain ways, while their bodies were already evolving to handle these combinations. This reflects a fascinating feedback loop between environment, genetics, and cultural knowledge. At sites like Chavín de Huántar in Peru, tiny traces of psychoactive plants in ritual bone tubes hint that people deliberately inhaled substances with strong chemical effects. For their bodies to manage these compounds without harm, their enzymes had to be up to the task. Similarly, ancient Greek priestesses may have chemically altered ergot fungus to reduce its toxicity while preserving its hallucinogenic qualities, suggesting not only cultural sophistication, but also a biological tolerance that had been shaped over generations. If you're still up and listening, feel free to like and subscribe. And if there is a future topic you want covered, drop it in the comments. I do read them. The part that feels strangely human here is how this biological adaptation reflects a form of environmental negotiation, not just in the obvious sense of food or shelter, but in how our ancestors' bodies learned to live with chemical landscapes. It hints that ancient humans were not simply passive consumers of their surroundings, but participants in a long, dynamic chemical dialogue. This makes me think that our relationship with psychedelics is not just cultural or spiritual. It's woven into the fabric of what it means to be human. Another detail worth noting is how this biochemical evolution likely influenced social structures. Those who metabolize these compounds effectively and perhaps experience their effects in particular ways might have become valued as ritual specialists or healers. Biological capacity intersected with cultural roles, reinforcing social hierarchies tied to access and knowledge of psychoactive substances. A quiet irony is that the very enzymes evolved to protect us from toxins also enable altered states of consciousness. What we often think of as mere recreational or mystical experiences rest on a foundation of hard-won biological resilience. This resilience, in turn, may have shaped human creativity, spirituality, and culture in ways we are only beginning to appreciate. The practical skill of ancient peoples extended beyond simple use. It involved selecting, combining, and preparing plants with an awareness of their chemical effects, supported by bodies already tuned to handle those effects. This is a reminder that what we call psychedelic use today has deep biological and cultural roots, reaching back through millennia of interaction. As we consider this, it's worth remembering that our bodies still carry traces of these ancient chemical encounters. The enzymes in our livers, the way we metabolize substances, and even genetic variations all whisper stories of past environments and practices. These traces invite a gentle reflection on how closely intertwined our biology is with the natural world and its chemical offerings. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. This chapter focuses on ritual spaces, the carefully shaped environments where ancient peoples use psychedelics. In plain terms, ritual spaces are the physical places and sensory settings intentionally prepared to support altered states of consciousness. They did not exist just as backdrops. Instead, these spaces were crafted to guide perception, contain experience, and give structure to the mind-altering effects of psychoactive plants and fungi. Such spaces helped solve a practical problem: how to turn a powerful, sometimes overwhelming chemical experience into something meaningful and manageable. A controlled environment reduced distractions, focused attention, and anchored the shared understanding of what the experience meant. The substance wasn't acting alone. It was part of a larger sensory system. If we look to the archaeological record and ethnographic parallels, we find a consistent pattern of sensory design. For example, many ritual sites were outdoors, but enclosed by stone circles, wooden fences, or woven mats. These boundaries did more than mark territory. They shaped sound and light, muffling distant noises and softening the wind. The texture of the ground mattered too. Earth packed hard enough to walk on without dust rising, but soft enough to sit or kneel comfortably for hours. Lighting was always natural, but carefully controlled. Torches made from resinous pine branches flickered with a warm, uneven glow. The smell of burning wood mixed with aromatic plants, sage, sweetgrass, tobacco, was a deliberate choice, both to mask other odors and to signal the transition from everyday life into ritual time. This scent, carried on the cool night air, could anchor memories and evoke a specific mental state. Sound was another essential element. Repetitive drumming, the steady beat of carved wooden drums or hollow gourds, created a rhythmic pulse. Chants and songs, sometimes in languages no longer spoken, wove through the rhythm. The odd thing is how these sounds didn't just fill the silence. They seemed to modulate the experience, guiding breath and heart rate in subtle ways. Even the wind, passing through carefully placed reed pipes or hanging chimes, became part of the soundscape. Inside these spaces, objects were arranged with attention to material and meaning. Woven baskets held dried plants, their fibers rough and dyed with local clay pigments. Wooden bowls, smoothed by years of use, contained offerings or prepared mixtures. Stone altars bore the patina of countless ceremonies. Tiny chips where flakes fell during carving, dark stains from oils or resins. The roughness of carved wood contrasted with the cool, hard touch of river stones laid out in geometric patterns. One particularly interesting detail is how these spatial designs seem to anticipate the altered state. Low light reduces external visual noise, but it also enhances the internal imagery of the mind under psychedelics. Enclosed or semi-enclosed spaces intensify sensations and focus attention inward. It's a form of sensory engineering. Chemical input plus sensory control plus cultural expectation equals a shaped experience. This is a far cry from the idea of someone simply getting high alone or in a random setting. The presence of communal seating or mats also tells us about social dynamics. People likely gathered in circles or semicircles, sharing the experience but also maintaining a structure where certain individuals, shamans, priestesses, elders, held specific roles. Their positions near altars or fire pits suggest a kind of leadership or mediation. They might have regulated doses, guided participants through the experience, or interpreted visions. I find it interesting that these ritual environments demanded a certain kind of patience and attention to detail. Preparing woven mats, arranging stones, gathering specific fragrant plants. All these tasks required planning and care. They also involved seasonal knowledge. Some plants lose potency if harvested too early or late, so timing mattered. This wasn't casual but a form of constrained engineering using available materials, tuned to local climate and ecology. Another practical note is how these spaces offered a trade-off between isolation and community. Enclosures limited distractions but also allowed for shared presence. The balance ensured safety, both physical and psychological, and reinforced the social meaning of the event. Under the influence, a person's sense of self can loosen, so the environment needed to hold them gently, like a carefully woven net. Finally, when we consider theories like the psychedelic Eleusis hypothesis from ancient Greece, the role of space becomes even more striking. Some scholars suggest that the Eleusinian mysteries took place in dimly lit underground chambers, where altered, ergot-derived substances were combined with ritual chants, symbols, and sacred objects. The sensory environment would have been integral to the experience, as significant as the substance itself. This intertwining of place, ritual, and chemical effect reminds us that ancient humans approached psychedelics as part of a larger cultural technology. What makes this useful to remember is how modern perspectives often isolate the chemical from its context. The part that feels strangely human is that ancient peoples didn't just ingest a substance. They crafted a whole sensory world around it, blending light, sound, smell, texture, and social order. That kind of deliberate design speaks to a sophisticated understanding of how mind and environment interact. In a way, these spaces were early laboratories of consciousness. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. Now, crafting the experience. Tools and techniques. Crafting the experience. Tools and techniques is what careful steps went into making these substances ready for ritual use. It existed because drying, grinding, and mixing techniques. The useful thing is to understand the ordinary pressure underneath it before the details start to pile up. Now, crafting the experience. Tools and techniques. This chapter focuses on how ancient peoples carefully prepared psychoactive substances for use. In plain terms, this means looking at the practical steps: harvesting, processing, storing, and administering that made these plants and fungi ready for ritual or ceremonial purposes. These were not random acts of gathering or consumption, but deliberate practices aimed at controlling potency, safety, and effect. The story begins with timing. Harvesting seasons mattered deeply. For example, many psychoactive plants contain varying amounts of active compounds depending on the time of year, the plant's maturity, even the weather. The Shaman culture in the Andes, known for their ritual bone tubes, likely gathered vilca seeds and wild tobacco when the alkaloid content was highest, ensuring the strongest possible effect. Drying the seeds or leaves was an essential step too. This not only preserved them, but also concentrated the psychoactive power by reducing moisture. The process required patience, spreading plant matter on woven mats or flat stones beneath the sun or near gentle smoke, checking regularly to avoid mold or overdrying. Grinding was often the next stage. Stone mortars and pestles, sometimes made from volcanic rock for its rough texture, transformed dried leaves, seeds, or roots into powders or pastes. This increased the surface area, facilitating extraction of active compounds during preparation or consumption. I find it interesting that this grinding process shows a form of early pharmacology, altering the physical state of a material to control how it works in the body. It's a practical insight from experience, not merely guesswork. Storage solutions appear more purposeful than one might expect. Archaeological finds of pouches, often made from animal hide or woven plant fibers, reveal that ancient users understood the importance of keeping these materials dry, protected from contamination, and separated by type. The Bolivian shaman's pouch, that contained traces of DMT, harmine, cocaine, and bufotenine, suggests careful curation and portability. These pouches were like early medicine kits, organized and ready for specific ritual purposes. The odd thing is how this mirrors modern practices. Just as today's users measure doses and keep substances airtight, ancient people managed potency and safety within their means. Administration tools also tell a story. Bone tubes from Chavin de Huantar, hollowed and polished, served as controlled delivery systems for inhaling smoke or powdered substances. These tubes were not just functional, but finely crafted, sometimes decorated, indicating their ritual significance. The use of such a tool allowed for measured doses and likely helped guide the experience. It's a reminder that the substance alone didn't define the encounter. How it was taken mattered just as much. Appreciating these tools and techniques also means recognizing the role of knowledge transmission. This expertise wasn't written down, but passed through generations orally and through apprenticeship. Elders and shamans taught novices how to identify the right plants, when to harvest, how to prepare, and how to conduct rituals. This careful stewardship of knowledge ensured consistency and safety, balancing the thrill of the experience with respect for its power. What makes this useful to remember is how these traditions encapsulate a form of experimental science embedded in culture, refined over centuries. Balancing potency was a delicate art. Too little of a plant might yield no effect. Too much could be dangerous. Mixes, like those found in the Bolivian shaman's pouch, show an understanding that combining substances could modulate or enhance the experience, adding layers of complexity. This implies trial and error, but also a systematic approach. It wasn't a free-for-all. It was constrained engineering using the materials at hand. The sensory environment played a part too. Preparing substances often involved rituals that engaged multiple senses, smoke rising in slow spirals, the sound of grinding stones on rock, the smell of drying leaves. These moments were part of a larger system designed to orient the user's mind and body toward the forthcoming experience. The tools were more than mere utensils. They were instruments of transformation. I find it quietly profound that these ancient techniques echo modern pharmacology and ritual. Grinding, drying, measuring, storing. These are foundational steps in any medicinal or psychoactive preparation. No matter the era or culture, the part that feels strangely human is the care taken to balance potency with intention, to shape experience through material means rather than leaving it to chance. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. This chapter focuses on how psychedelics functioned within the social fabric of ancient communities. In plain terms, social threads refer to the ways these substances were embedded in group life, shaping relationships, roles, and power dynamics, rather than being purely personal experiences. Psychedelic use wasn't a casual pastime, but a carefully regulated practice that helped maintain social order, mark important transitions, and reinforce shared meanings. Across various cultures, shamans, priestesses, and other ritual specialists held the role of mediators between the altered states induced by these substances and the community itself. They were not simply users, but guides and gatekeepers, tasked with interpreting visions, managing safety, and controlling when and how others could access these experiences. For example, the shamanic pouch found in Bolivia contained a remarkable combination of psychoactive plants, DMT, harmine, bufotenine, and even traces of cocaine, suggesting intentional blending. This wasn't random, but a form of early pharmacological craft, a precise mixture designed to produce a particular kind of experience under the watchful eye of an expert. The presence of such complex combinations hints at a social role where knowledge and experience were carefully passed down, almost like a trade secret, preserving sacred processes within select circles. The use of psychedelics often marked rites of passage or status within these groups. In the Shaman culture of Peru, for instance, rituals involving vilca beans and wild tobacco were held in specialized ceremonial spaces, with bone tubes serving as tools for controlled inhalation. These rituals were probably not open to everyone, but reserved for certain individuals or occasions, reinforcing social hierarchies. The act of participating in these ceremonies, sharing the altered state, created a sense of belonging and collective identity. Yet, it also established boundaries, drawing lines between those included and those excluded. In this way, psychedelic use functioned as a subtle but powerful social glue, weaving individuals into a coherent group with shared beliefs and experiences. One of the practical details that stands out is how these substances were often administered in controlled settings designed to shape the experience. Enclosed spaces like caves or temples, low-light conditions, rhythmic sounds such as drums or chanting, and the scent of burning plants all contributed to a multi-sensory environment that prepared participants mentally and physically. This wasn't accidental. The sensory elements, smoke curling softly from a wooden pipe, the echo of a repetitive chant, the cool dampness of a cave wall, work together with the chemical effects to create a predictable, culturally meaningful experience. The odd thing is how modern accounts often overlook this interplay, focusing on the substance alone when in reality, it was part of a larger engineered system. Access to these experiences was often tightly controlled, reflecting a negotiation of power between the ritual specialists and the broader community. The social authority of shamans or priestesses came in part from their exclusive knowledge and ability to mediate altered states. In ancient Greece, for instance, it's possible that priestesses of mystery cults chemically modified ergot fungus to safely induce visionary states during religious ceremonies. This control over both the substance and its effects reinforced their spiritual authority and social status. It's a reminder that psychedelics were not just tools for individual insight, but instruments of social cohesion and hierarchy. I find it interesting that these practices required a delicate balance. On one hand, these substances could connect a person to something beyond ordinary reality, but on the other, without structure and guidance, the experience could be destabilizing. So the social roles around psychedelics were partly about safety, both physical and psychological, as well as cultural meaning. The ritual framework, the presence of experienced mediators, and the carefully prepared environment all helped contain the experience and transform it into something that reinforced rather than disrupted social bonds. Another detail worth noting is the seasonal harvesting and preparation of psychoactive plants. Ancient practitioners understood that potency varied with time and conditions, much like a vintner knows the best moment to pick grapes. Grinding, drying, and storing these materials in pouches or bone containers was not mere convenience, but a form of ancient quality control. This attention to detail suggests a sophisticated relationship with the natural world, combined with practical engineering skills. What makes this useful to remember is that these were not primitive acts of trial and error, but deliberate, knowledge-based practices. The shared experience of altered states also fostered empathy and trust within groups. People who underwent the same ritual journey often returned with a renewed sense of connection, not just to the divine or the unseen, but to each other. This collective bonding was a subtle form of social currency, yet it was always coupled with ritualized roles and expectations. So the experience did not dissolve hierarchy, but rather reaffirmed it in a different register. The communal aspect was essential, but it was framed within a system that maintained order and meaning. In modern times, it's easy to imagine psychedelic use as an individual adventure or a form of rebellion, but the archaeological and ethnographic record suggests that, historically, it was far more integrated into social structure. The part that feels strangely human is how these substances served as both a bridge and a boundary, connecting individuals to each other and to their culture, while also reinforcing who could cross certain thresholds and who could not. This dual function is a reminder that altered states, like any powerful tool, are never simply personal. They are woven into the fabric of human relationships. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. Here, we examine questions and quiet mysteries. Questions and quiet mysteries is what remains just out of reach in our understanding of ancient psychedelics. It existed because possibilities versus certainties in ritual function. The useful thing is to understand the ordinary pressure underneath it before the details start to pile up. This chapter focuses on the questions and quiet mysteries surrounding ancient human use of psychedelics. In plain terms, it's about the limits of what we can know when we study traces of mind-altering substances from thousands of years ago. The evidence often comes in the form of chemical residues or artifacts, but understanding how these were actually used and what they meant to the people involved remains elusive. These substances solved complex problems of meaning, social cohesion, and spiritual connection in their time. But how exactly that worked, and how people experienced it, is something we can only approach indirectly. Take, for example, the discovery of hallucinogenic compounds in 3,000-year-old hair from the S. Carix cave in Menorca. The chemical fingerprints are clear enough to confirm use, yet the context is thin. We don't know if the individual was a shaman, a healer, or just someone experimenting. And while the presence of substances like DMT, or harmine in a shamanic pouch from Bolivia 1,000 years ago tells us more about intentional combinations. The precise rituals and the mental frameworks remain shadows cast on fragments of material culture. One of the persistent challenges is the gap between evidence and interpretation. Archaeology can reveal tools like bone tubes used for inhalation or pouches storing plant matter, but it cannot fully reconstruct the sensory environment, the smells, the sounds, the flickering light of a fire, or the chanting voices that might have shaped the experience. We know these elements mattered because they persist in ethnographic records and later traditions, yet their ancient counterparts are often silent. This leaves us with educated guesses rather than firm conclusions. The odd thing is how much we rely on subtle clues, residues on a pipe, the layering of pigments in rock art, or the chemical signatures left in hair or textiles. These are traces of human choices and behaviors, but they don't tell us the story whole. They open a door but don't reveal the room beyond. Was the use of ergot fungus in Greek temples mainly a means to induce visions for priestesses, or part of a broader medicinal or social practice we don't yet understand? Could the careful drying and grinding of plants be a form of early pharmacology, or simply preservation? Sometimes the line between ritual and routine blurs. It's worth noting how these uncertainties reflect something deeply human. Ancient peoples weren't just users of psychoactive plants. They were experimenters, system builders, and storytellers. The shaman's pouch in Bolivia, for example, contained a deliberate blend of substances, showing a sophisticated grasp of how different chemicals interact. What I find interesting is how this suggests an early form of chemistry, an iterative process of trial and error embedded in cultural tradition, and yet the exact knowledge, how it was taught, how it was experienced, has vanished. Another layer of mystery lies in the social dimensions. We know that access to these substances was often controlled by shamans or priestesses, who acted as guides and gatekeepers. This control points to a complex relationship between power, knowledge, and experience. But the details of these social arrangements shift from place to place and time to time. We can see hierarchies hinted at in the archaeological record, but the lived reality, the debates, the doubts, the disagreements, are lost to us. It's a reminder that ancient psychedelics were not just about the individual mind, but the collective body of culture. The balance between evidence and imagination is delicate. Scholars must tread carefully, respecting the diversity of ancient human experiences without imposing modern assumptions. The presence of a psychoactive compound doesn't always mean a ritual or a spiritual journey. Sometimes it may have been incidental or used for practical reasons lost to history. This nuance is important. It keeps the study of ancient psychedelics honest and open-ended, which I think actually suits the topic well. The unknown invites a kind of quiet respect rather than certainty. What makes this useful to remember is that the ongoing dialogue between past discoveries and future research means our understanding is always provisional. New chemical techniques, fresh excavations, or unexpected finds can shift what we think we know. For instance, the discovery of wild tobacco and vilca beans in ritual bone tubes at Chavin de Huanta shows an earlier and more complex use of psychedelics in the Andes than previously thought. Each new piece adds texture, but also raises more questions. I find it quietly profound that humans have woven these substances into culture for millennia, yet the full story remains just out of reach. It's a reminder of how much of our past is layered in silence and mystery, and how the traces left behind are like faint footprints in mist. This tension between what is known and what is imagined is not a failing. It's part of the unfolding nature of history and archaeology. In a way, the questions themselves become part of the experience. They invite us to hold space for ambiguity and to appreciate the subtlety of ancient lives. The ancient use of psychedelics was not a singular event, but a complex interaction of biology, culture, environment, and meaning. That interaction shaped not just individual visions, but entire communities, social orders, and worldviews. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery. Now, returning to the night, a gentle pause with ancient echoes. Returning to the night, a gentle pause with ancient echoes is what might these ancient journeys inspire in our own quiet moments. It existed because the subtle presence of ancient practices in modern life. The useful thing is to understand the ordinary pressure underneath it before the details start to pile up. Now, returning to the night, we find ourselves in a moment of quiet reflection on ancient encounters with psychedelics. In plain terms, this means pausing to consider how early humans, separated from us by thousands of years, touched something both chemical and cultural, substances that altered perception and invited new ways of seeing the world. These substances did not exist merely as curiosities, but as parts of lived experience, woven into rituals, social roles, and sensory environments. What makes this moment especially compelling is the subtle continuity it reveals. Take, for instance, the Bronze Age hair strands found in Escarix cave on Menorca. Those strands carry chemical whispers of hallucinogens, a trace of a personal history long vanished from sight. It's not just a fact about drug use. It's a quiet echo of curiosity, experimentation, and perhaps a search for meaning. The odd thing is how these echoes persist in the very routines of our modern lives. How, beneath the surface of daily habit, there remains a human impulse to alter perception, gently, safely, often in shared intentional spaces. Consider the shaman's pouch discovered in Bolivia, a container of woven fibers and leather, carefully stuffed with dried plants like DMT containing leaves and harmine vines. This wasn't accidental. It was a crafted system, designed to guide experience, combining chemicals in ways that suggest early chemistry. I find it interesting how this intentional mixing points to knowledge transfer, generations learning which plants combine well, which seasons bring the best potency, and how to store these preparations to preserve their effects. It's a practical, hands-on science embedded in ritual. The sensory environment surrounding these substances matters just as much as the substances themselves. Ancient cave sites like California's Pinwheel cave reveal something more than chewed plant remnants. They show how sound, light, and space were orchestrated around the experience. Low, flickering light inside the cave, the rhythmic beat of drums beyond the entrance, the smell of smoke curling in the cool air. All these factors shaped perception. The brain does not work in isolation from its surroundings. The input is chemical, yes, but also acoustic, olfactory, and spatial. If you're still up and listening, feel free to like and subscribe. And if there is a future topic you want covered, drop it in the comments. I do read them. The role of ritual specialists, shamans, priestesses, or elders adds another layer of complexity. These figures were not just users, but interpreters and regulators. Their role was to ensure the experience was meaningful, contained, and safe within the social framework. Access to these substances was often restricted, reinforcing social hierarchies and cultural narratives. This balance between access and control is a practical solution to the unpredictability of altered states. It's a reminder that these substances were tools, but tools that required skill and guidance. One practical detail worth noting is the way substances were prepared and administered. Grinding stones show wear from pulverizing dried plant material. Bone tubes, carefully carved and smoothed, suggest controlled inhalation techniques. The timing of harvests, based on environmental cues, whether moon phases or seasonal rains, reflects an empirical awareness of when plants contain the right potency. These are not random acts. They are constrained engineering decisions, using available materials and knowledge. What I find quietly profound is the biological side of this story. Human liver enzymes evolved under the influence of environmental chemicals, including plant toxins and psychoactive compounds. This is a feedback loop. The environment presents chemicals. The body adapts to metabolize them, and culture builds practices around this interaction. Our capacity to process these substances isn't incidental. It's part of a long, intertwined history of biology and culture. In the soft night air, under a canopy of stars, it's worth considering that these ancient practices are not simply relics, but part of an ongoing human story. They remind us that curiosity about the mind and the world is deeply embedded in our species. The substances themselves have changed, as have the rituals, but the impulse to explore altered states and their meanings remains. This moment of quiet reflection is also an invitation to return again on another night to these ancient echoes. The traces in hair, the careful bundles in a shaman's pouch, the carved bone tubes, the smell of smoke in a cave, all carry fragments of human experience. Fragments that connect us across millennia. There is a certain comfort in this shared legacy. In the end, the question is not just about substances, but about what they represent. A striving to understand, to connect, to move beyond ordinary perception in ways that are both personal and communal. And as we drift softly to the next moment, we continue this quiet journey through time and discovery.